Hi, welcome to O'Shea Woodworks. Thanks for joining me this week. I am working on a coffee table for my brother this week. Live edge walnut slab. Gonna do some epoxy on it. It was my first time trying it, so we will see how it goes. I'll bring you in for a closer look at the slab. Here's a bit of a closer look at it. We see it's a decent sized piece. We were originally going to we were aiming to build a desk with it, but it's a little bit narrow along as we get further along here. So shifted gears a little bit, going to make a coffee table. Probably gonna cut it right about here. That's about 42 inches, good length for a coffee table. So you can see in here, we got a little bit of a big crack here. So we are going to fill that with some epoxy. I've ordered some epoxy. Probably gonna get that in the next few days. Put some blue epoxy in there and see how it turns out. Off camera, I cut this board down to 48 inches. Now I've got to flatten it, so I've got my router with a flat bit on it, and I'm just going to make some passes on here, and this will be the majority of the time is spent just flattening this board.
2,000 years later.
As you can see, I have this slab flattened down a little bit. You can see just how much it was cupped here. This is all flat right in here. And then I've still got to go down a little bit more. So I'm gonna flip it over and do the other side, take off some there. And because my goal is I want to keep this as thick as possible. So we are going to do our best to make that happen. I think it will end up about an inch and a quarter. Obviously, the thicker the better. After a few hours of flattening this slab, we have one flat side, one completely flat side. The bottom side isn't completely flat, but that's okay. We'll make sure where the legs are going is flat, so then the table is level. So now I'm just gonna sand this down with some 80 grit sandpaper. So I have the form built up. It's in my basement right now. Next step here is I'm going to be pouring and mixing up some epoxy. I have this epoxy here. So I'm going to be mixing 2 parts of the resin with 1 part hardener. Done some math, figured out I probably need about 350 or 300 milliliters of the epoxy and 150 of the hardener. So I'm gonna go ahead and mix that up. Basically put it in here. I'm supposed to mix it up for about 5 minutes, and then I'll add some of my color to it, and I'll show you what it looks like. So I have that poured together, so I'm just gonna go ahead and stir it together for about 5 minutes. Turn the camera off for that. Nobody wants to watch me just stirring for 5 minutes, so I'll bring you back once I am adding in the color. So I'm back after a few minutes of mixing. Now I'm gonna add some coloring to the epoxy. So I have this black diamond pigment. It's a diamond deep blue. This is the color that my brother, who I'm making the coffee table, wants, so I'm just gonna add some in there. I think he wants it fairly dark, so I'm gonna just kind of add some in. I can always put more in, I can't take any out, so just gonna put a little bit in at a time and see how it looks. I have these gloves on because I really do not like glitter, and this has a little bit of a metallic-y look to it. So we'll start out with that. It's about a 1/4 teaspoon. I'm gonna come around here and show you that there. I don't know if you can see that. I'll just pick you up here and show you. You want to pour it really well. I mean, you want to stir it really well. That's looking pretty nice, looking pretty dark. So I'm gonna turn you off for a little bit while I just stir this for a couple of minutes. So that is what we have there, that coloring there. Looks pretty nice. You can see why they call it the deep blue sea. So now I'm gonna head downstairs. Apologize in advance for the poor lighting down there, but it is warmer down there than it is in my garage, so I'll see you down there. So this is my setup down here. I made this form. The form really there is just there as a precautionary measure. I'm not going to be filling in these sides with epoxy. That is really the intention of a form. I have it there as a precautionary measure. I really don't want to spill this stuff all over my floor, so that's why I have it there. I have this tuck tape in there, and also I taped it on the other side, so the other side is the top of it, so hopefully it will be nice and flat. And then I have this caulking around here just so that if I do overflow it a little bit, it doesn't go all over the top. And then I'm going to fill in all of these cracks here. So I will get to pouring. Welcome back, everybody. I have this table sanded down to 1,000 grit sandpaper. I'm going to finish it with this tung oil, put a couple of coats on there. Once that is kind of soaked in and dried, I'm going to finish it with paste wax. So here we go. So you can see how nice it looks now. I'm gonna wipe off some of the excess and then probably tomorrow come in and do another coat. It's the next day here, and I put another coat of the tung oil on the coffee table, waited a few hours for that to dry, and then I coated it with paste wax on the top. So I'll turn you around, we'll see the final product. So here is the final product. I'm very happy with how it turned out. I think it looks really great with the natural finish there with that pop of epoxy right there. My brother chose the legs on this table and just off of Amazon, and I think they make the table look really great. Thanks for tuning in. This is the very first video I've ever done, so any support that I can get is great. Likes go a long way, subscribers obviously help. My goal is to in the next year get a few hundred subscribers, so that takes some work. It takes out some putting out consistent videos and putting out things that people want to see. So if there are any woodworking projects that you're interested in seeing, comment below. I will do my best to get that done.